And we're back with day, was this 12 of things that suck? Today we are talking about how contemporary Hollywood movies suck. And when I say contemporary, I'm not sure the exact cutoff, but we're probably right around Fast and the Furious 5 is when it really started sucking. So right around that year, probably 2015, 14, somewhere in there. Maybe it goes back. Because there was good movies in 09, 2010, you had Avatar, you had the other guys. Good movies, quality movies, on many people's top 10 list. But then it started going downhill. It did. It wasn't good for a while, for the longest. And I will opine with our guest for today, Mr. Patrick, regular show co-host.
Oh, my guest, yes, I was going to say.
Regular show co-host, but for this thing, it's basically been me, because it's every day. Obviously, you can't do this every day. But me, and then somebody else has been doing it. So today is co-host is Mr. Patrick Ice, Patty Ice, Pat with the bat, Pat with B. What's up, buddy? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, brother.
Awesome,
I'm celebrating today because I'm working tomorrow.
You guys are open on the 4th, huh? That sucks.
We are.
They kind of have to be open on the 4th to me because,
I was off Memorial Day, so it's only fair. We all got to take turns, so screw it.
Every other holiday kind of thing. Well, you guys, what days are you guys closed? I think it's Christmas Day. And
the only day we're closed, the only day that we're closed a full day is Christmas Day.
Okay.
And once in a while, we close Thanksgiving. I think this past Thanksgiving they closed all day, but that was more of since COVID they've been closing random holidays so we can enjoy our time.
Exactly. So let's go back in time. Let's go back to when you first remembered movies. All right, we'll go back to when you were little. Probably back to the 80s, I would say.
Oh, that's easy.
What was the first movie that you remember seeing that was quality to you? Not fucking Howard the Duck or something.
It was 1984. I was 3 years old. It was the re-release of E.T. That was my very first movie, actually.
Okay.
So it was, because it was originally released in 82, but obviously I was too young for that. Probably still was too young for the re-release, but, what are you going to do?
And, right. E.T. came out in 83.
I just remember how intimidating the screen was, especially when you're 3 years old,
And I remember E.T. like it was yesterday. Quality fucking movie. That set the standard really high for the movies you wanted to see in the future.
As a matter of fact, it was either that one or Pinocchio were my first two movies. And Disney Pinocchio, obviously. Well, so yeah, two quality movies back to back.
And E.T. was set to stand. E.T. won, I think it won Picture of the Year that year, I believe.
It did not. It wasn't even nominated. No,
wasn't.
Sir.
Okay.
It was not. No, sir.
Well, on the E.T. tip, do you remember that?
Gandhi.
E.T. Gandhi came out in the 70s, bro.
No, it did not. 1982. Look it up, please. Don't.
Okay, Google.
No.
What was the movie of the year in 1983?
Movies frequently mentioned on the web include War Games, Return of the Jedi, Terms of Endearment, and others.
That was a good movie too, War Games. You remember that?
This is what you need to understand. It's really irritating. It's like you're insulting my intelligence. I'm the pop culture guy, and you're insulting my intelligence when you question. Hey Google, what was the best picture? What won an Academy Award for Best Picture in 1982?
According to Wikipedia, the Academy Award for Best Picture is one of the Academy Awards presented annually by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences since the awards debuted in 1929. This award goes to the producers of the film and is the only category in which every member of the Oscars is eligible to submit a nomination and vote on the final ballot.
All right. So I fucked that up. And anyhow, it was E.T. wasn't even nominated. I think it was nominated for original score or something, and that was it.
Well, 82 was Chariots of Fire. It says great movie, by the way, as well.
That one in 81. 82 had.
I think it's the year after how they do it.
All right, but 82, there was a lot of great movies that came out that year.
83 was Gandhi. People also search for.
But 82 had E.T., had Blade Runner. Had Fast Times at Ridgemont High. There's some good movies. There's some quality movies that came out. But for me, even good movies like The Avenger, what really is a peeve of mine is they rely too much on CGI. That's all about the CGI. It's like they don't care about the story, they don't care about the quality. It's like they just want they just want it to look good.
Well, what happened was they got lazy with the advent of computers, and it started. I'll tell you the exact
The
point.
writing.
Well, writing got lazy, but the production value got. The 80s was the peak, the absolute peak, in my opinion, of production value in movies. Because, like, if you look back to like movies like Apocalypse Now, and then the original Star Wars is, Return of the Jedi, where they used the puppets and the fucking little people as Ewoks. They had an entire family. That was fucking insane production value. And you get into war movies like Full Metal Jacket, and and starting in the late 90s when you started getting the computer stuff, it really started fucking with you. If you remember a movie called Air Force One, everybody remembers it was with Harrison Ford.
Yes. And
you remember the plane crashing at the end, all right? When Air Force One that was one of the cheesiest fucking shitty CGI uses ever.
Right. And
it started going downhill right after that. Right after that was the moment of everything going downhill for production value.
Don't forget to let me talk. Even with the Ewoks, that was real because it was people in costumes, as opposed to Avatar, where you can tell it's just like, fuck, it's just, it's not people in makeup. I mean, it's people in makeup essentially, but then it's all the other things, so it doesn't look real. And then flying around dragons, that doesn't look real. And then E.T., speaking of E.T., did you ever see, it was the 25th anniversary, where they added these CGI elements to it? It doesn't look. It takes it away from the originality of it.
They did. George Lucas did that with a lot of the Star Wars. Some of them were okay, in my opinion. Some were I did like when they added the Han Solo talking to Jabba sequence. That was kind of cool. But they changed up the Greedo thing, and they fucking put in just random effects in the background. It's it's not really needed. You know what I mean?
What is needed is these new school directors, creators, to pay homage to movies of the past, when it comes to when focusing more on storytelling, acting, writing. Good example, it's a TV show, but Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of CGI, but it's just a great story. And in my opinion, the aliens in the movie or in the show, they don't seem CGI, so they do an awesome job. The Duffer Brothers are the creators of the show, do an awesome job of making it as realistic as they can.
They are.
And even the Avengers movies, I mean, there's good storytelling in that, but they rely too heavily on the CGI.
Well, the CGI and the writing, I mean, after, if we want to fast forward a little bit I'll disagree with you a little bit on Avatar. I thought Avatar was really a good use of the CGI. They spent a lot of time on that. If you spend time and money and you still have the live actors in there, you can make it really, really good. Like some of those fantasy lands in Avatar was really good cinematography. That's some of the best fucking HD you'll ever see.
I can't knock on it. It sounds like I'm not. James Cameron, I mean, he gave us Terminator. He gave us the first two Terminators. He gave us Titanic. And he was ahead of his time, man, with The Abyss. I don't know if you ever see The Abyss, and it came out in 1989.
Okay.
And for that time, he was way ahead of the time. You know what I'm talking about? The Abyss. That's like the guy.
Was it 89?
It was 89.
PG-13. There was titties in it, I think, wasn't there?
There might have been titties, but
briefs.
Remember there was that head that came out of this rubber thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and for that time, that was way ahead of the time. And I just thought that he just relied too heavily on the CGI. And that's just my opinion.
Well, a lot of the things, Sean, what's up, buddy? I guess I had some of the chat. Simo, what's up? Robin, how you doing, sweetie? Ken, Tom's out there as well. Who else we got? Brian's out there too. What's up, buddies? Yeah, I think the laziness just goes into the stories itself too.
Yeah,
like people want to be safe. Nobody takes a risk. Like at the time, look, I love using Full Metal Jacket as an example because I'm an expert on that movie. But
it's a great movie.
At the time, man, he took so many risks and he did so much stuff that was just so unprecedented. And the studio just had faith in him, just said, do what you got to do. We'll worry about the backside later. And they made money off of it and it fucking worked. They don't do that anymore. They tell the same stories over and over. There's plenty of stories to be told out there, man. plenty of good stories that need to be investigated, but they all do the same feel-good crap. You know, how many rom-coms have you seen? It's the same fucking movie over and over again. I'll set the story for you. This guy and this girl, they know each other in the beginning, and they were in love the whole time, but they didn't know it. And they live in a place like Chicago or New York, and the guy has a cool job. There's a bunch of gay people in the movie, and at the end of the movie, they kiss, and the camera goes up and shows a whole cityscape after they overcome the obstacle in the movie. That's literally every romantic comedy. Tell me I'm wrong on that, dude. It's a fucking formula. And I get it. You do over and over what works, but you got to take a risk.
What movie were you specifically talking about?
I was talking about every romantic comedy ever made was pretty much like that.
Yeah, that's derivative.
Yeah, Robert, the reboots go back to fucking people just get lazy. And I get it too. I mean, we can't sit here and act like people in the 70s and 80s didn't reboot a lot of the shit in the 30s and 40s. But like, you know, they made it to where the story was better and told and stuff like that. Like Scarface, 1937, whatever the original was, and then Scarface, 1982 or whatever. Totally different fucking comparison movie.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's totally different, better. I mean, it's just so it's like I don't think I think what what Pat was mentioning the virus earlier. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the point where, at least with Hollywood, to where they're going to produce good shit, where it's a risk taking stuff. They just not. I mean, they want to. I mean, people. Let's take this Top Gun movie that was just out there, for example. Have you seen this Top Gun movie? You have. Okay.
Have you?
I have not.
Okay.
Was it any good in your opinion?
Yes.
All right.
I thought it was better than the first one.
Better than the first one. Okay. Now, what makes it better in your opinion? Like, did they actually use planes? Did they actually use stunts? Was a lot of CGI? What's the deal?
Oh yeah, it's just. I mean, there was CGI, but it wasn't really CGI heavy, in my opinion. I mean, there were some scenes where I don't want to give away because you haven't seen, but there were some scenes. It's like, okay, that wouldn't happen in real life. You know, Tom Cruise is running away from an explosion. That's not really giving away anything. And that wouldn't happen in real life. It's just, I don't know. It was just, it relied more heavily on action and, than the first one. More planes and everything. Planes were a lot more awesome than the first one, I thought.
Okay, we got a comment from Ken. He said the flying was done by the actual actors. Okay, so that's good. That part's good. I know that a lot of those.
And Tom Cruise does his own stunts, which is sweet.
Tom Cruise is a good actor, man. I really do.
I love Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is great.
He might be out there when it comes to some of his political stuff, but I mean, when you're at that level, dude,
this really wasn't his best acting, but he did a solid performance in this.
Right. Well, we'll get into good rom-coms in a second. I'll tell you some of my favorites, and I'll tell you why they're my favorites.
I have some too.
But the thing with Cruise is that he's willing to take risks still, and I really do. I'll give credit when credit is due. The producers of Top Gun did a reversal on the whole Taiwan flag thing in uniform, and I really dig that. I really fuck with it because for those who don't know, like the Chinese Communist Party, CCP they're like, oh, we're not going to air this if you put that flag up there on the uniform. And he had a little, Taiwan American flag. If you look in the uniform, and they put it back, and so kudos on that.
Hey, for the record, we're talking about Tom Cruise, not Mike Cruise.
Right. Mike Cruise is also a good person, but I don't know if he has a Taiwan flag on his uniform.
I think he's afraid of flying.
Mike Cruise should put a Taiwan flag in his uniform. Right? We're gonna get if anybody out there has a Taiwanese flag patch or time, Mike Cruise should put on his uniform. But let's do it. Let's do it. But we're getting into rom-coms now. Dude, I'll tell you what makes a good rom-com in my opinion, and you got to make rom-coms for guys as well.
Chemistry,
because like girls will watch anything with the rom-com. There's 60 to 70% of women. This isn't an insult. This is just the way women are. A lot of women, I'm not gonna say everyone. But 60, 70% of women, in my opinion, will just watch anything schmaltzy. They like the Hallmark movies, everybody gets together at the end, happy ending stuff. That's just the way women are built, okay? There's some out there who really do like the stuff. But when you're making a rom-com, you got to make it for the guy. You put in a set of titties. You put in a swear word or something. There's a movie called Bridesmaids, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
it's a rom-com, and it was a great movie. They put some guy humor in there, had a couple sets of titties. Fucking amazing. Guys like that kind of shit, man. They do.
I'll tell you what's a really good. Have you ever seen the Silver Linings Playbook?
Yes, good movie. Good movie.
That's a good. See, that's a good rom-com for a guy because it deals with there's like a mob element to it too because Robert De Niro is in there, and of course, if Robert De Niro is going to be a movie, you gotta have a mob element tied to it. So yeah, there was more story than just boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl. Plus, it deals with like other issues like mental illness and stuff like that. So yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Here's an interesting fact Robin brings up. She says, I think it has more to do with the fact that those are the only movies chicks have starring roles in. That's
True.
a good point. Yeah. Well, I mean, we got to be real about Hollywood. We do got to be. Most of the people who run Hollywood are, older guys. Guys probably fucking 20 years older than me. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily want women to be in prominent roles.
But have you noticed that there are a lot of action movies recently that have women in starring roles? Charlize Theron is one.
The whole women in action movies kind of thing is kind of a dodge, in my opinion, for giving women actual roles. Like, it's cool. It's cool, and granted, movies are escapism, but like in real life, dude, there's no hot chick going out there killing people. It just doesn't exist. I mean, even in the police force, they're, and I mean, most law enforcement organizations and whatnot, most women aren't usually on the front lines. I mean, they're not saying they aren't, but like, I think it's an excuse, in my opinion. Now, you can get into a little bit here in a second, but like when they throw a hot chick, like they have a Lara Croft out there, and here's your Tomb Raider role. It's kind of a dodge because they're just throwing a hot chick in a fantasy role, and they're really giving that to the teen boys. The guys who like the hot chicks doing the guy stuff, and like it's not really a good thing for women.
You know what else doesn't exist? Superman and Santa Claus, but they still make movies about them.
Well, I mean, true, but there's also guys. I mean, there's no women Wolf of Wall Street, and anytime there is a woman in a movie, it's always a downfall. Like, remember? Have you ever heard of the company called? God damn it! With the little blood transfusion things. Do you remember that? The woman, what's his name? She got arrested. I'll have to look it up. I'll do a whole series on that one. Elizabeth Theranos was the name of the company.
Okay.
Elizabeth Holmes was her name, and she was like, "Oh, the cutting edge woman," and it turns out everything she was doing was lying. It was a ridiculous series.
Go ahead.
It was a fun series, actually.
Erin Brockovich is a good example.
That's a good one. Erin Brockovich is a great one. It really is. That was the real Erin Brockovich was cute, and then the Erin, what was her name? Julia Roberts played it.
She killed it, man.
That was a great fucking movie. I think she won an award for that.
She did. She won the Best Actress award.
And I know that sometimes, those movies, not everybody's of Erin Brockovich. I mean, that was some heroic shit she was doing in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a different world than it was in the 1990s for sure. But like, there's a lot more women's stories that need to be told like that. Like, this is true what Robin says as well. I mean, most women were just mothers up until a couple years ago. It's is what it is. I mean, we just recently got women into the workforce and stuff like that. But there's got to be more story. I think the overt sexualization is just going to always kill it in Hollywood. Like, for women to even be successful, they either have to be hot, funnier than fuck, or used to be hot. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard.
That's sad, but true.
It's sad, dude. Think about anybody who's a little bit over. When I say a little bit overweight, guys like me and Pat, we're not fucking fat, but we're not, skinny. We never will be. We got, rolls or whatever. Like people like Melissa McCarthy. And there's another one that people just hate. What's the Amy Schumer? Like, no matter what they do, people just get triggered. They hate them.
I'm not a huge fan of Amy Schumer.
It's kind of wild like that. Like,
I don't find Melissa McCarthy that funny. I mean, she's in good movies.
Well, she gets some shit roles, but like, there's just got to be a funny person. Like, some of these people are really funny, but they just get shit roles.
Mm-hmm.
Shit rolls, man. Robert says, women literally have been doing much for the most part. Of course, there are some cool exceptions.
Yeah.
Same thing with men. Well, I don't know. With men, it's a little different, Ken, because like you can be fat and still get funny roles as a guy and still be considered like when there's like a John Goodman type and shit like that. I guess for every John Goodman, there's a Roseanne Barr, but even then they chastise Roseanne Barr a lot. So
I have another peeve about movies. Lack of originality.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the reboot. It's about the sequel and the reboot.
Every single time, well, they got Fast and the Furious. What's it up to now? 10 or 11 now?
Yeah. They're gonna keep making those until.
And I get it because that plays good on the big screen, but like, I mean, they used to have back in the day. You used to have the film. The films were for Hollywood, and then you had the films that were for that were good.
Those Fast Furious movies got so ridiculous, man. It turned in the first one was like. The first one had a good story, like undercover cop infiltrating this group of robbers, kind of like a Point Break type thing. And then it turned into this heist spy thing. And the last one, they're so unrealistic. And the last one, a couple of them are able to take like a makeshift car and turn into a rocket and they go to the moon. Like, you're not gonna do that in real life. Give me a break.
If
Fuck.
you ever want to really enjoy Fast and the Furious the other way, the funniness of how crazy it is, go. Have you ever seen Cinema Sins? You know what I'm talking about? Basically, a guy plays parts in the movie and he'll like ding everything that's wrong with it. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. You got to watch the Fast and the Furious ones of those. It's so funny because even like part 2 weren't the worst in Fast and Furious. Tokyo Drift was actually a good movie. It really was. It was fun. It was campy. But like, man, after 4 and 5, they just ran out of plots. And
it was just like, and they kill him off and they bring him back. You know,
right. Like, oh yeah, here's Letty. She's live actually. She didn't die in that explosion. Like, fuck out of here. You know, maybe at least give her a twin. You know, at that point, it's kind of a soap opera. No, Fast and the Furious.
They didn't even kill Paul Walker's character. He just kind of drove off in the sunset.
Right. Did they even give a reason for that? I remember. Well, he did die. I remember they dressed it because didn't they name the one baby after Paul Walker? Like, oh yeah, one of you guys got
Brian. Yeah, they called it.
Yeah, they named the baby
Vin
Brian.
Diesel's son. They named him Brian.
Right. Then it's some movie.
Brian O'Connor.
For some reason, at the end of Fast and the Furious, they're always eating lunch on the terrace in Brooklyn. I don't know what's up with that.
Oh yeah. Right. They always. But yeah, those movies got ridiculous. But yeah, it just in the reboot. There's in the originality. That's my big thing too. It's that.
Says Universal Studios tram takes you through Fast and the Furious scene. It was confusing and silly for me since I'd never seen them. Dude, do you remember when they were filming? I think it was
You're
Fast.
not missing much.
Fast 7 actually, because there's a lot that in Cleveland they filmed on that. So the one part it's so ridiculous, but I do like pointing it out because like that's where we used to get. There's a place called Guy's Pizza. You know, right there by the Federal Reserve. If you go diagonal, it's like Prospect and 6th.
Yeah,
that's they did that one scene.
Where I know that one.
Well, they're pulling apart, and he's like, "It's got 500 horsepower." No, mate, it's got 1,000. He's like, "No, that thing's got 10,000." And it was so stupid. That part was like really featured in Cleveland, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Really.
Oh wow.
Mick, what's up, buddy? Says just made it. Been in the field jamming, getting high hats. The best way to spend July 3rd, bro.
Yeah, man.
Fucking
live it up.
Yeah, but like, dude, when we go back to non-originality, the comic book movies. It seems like 70% of movies are comic book movies, bro, and some are okay. Like the first Black Panther was good. You know, Endgame was good.
I gotta see that again. I saw it, but I didn't get. All of them consider it the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Oh, I'm not saying it's the best ever, but man,
no, that's what people are saying. I don't know. It's because it's like because of the times with all the racial tension, and it's a predominant African American based movie. But just based on like the
well, see, that part I actually liked about Black Panther is that what I think with all these movies, comic book movies especially, is that they always need a story from the third. They're like, oh yeah, if there's nobody that existed in the 30s and 40s and 50s, we can't talk about them. You can literally make up whatever you want in comic books. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to have Spider-Man, and Spider-Man comes home, and then Spider-Man, is in a nursing home, and then Spider-Man Reborn, and Spider-Man Invisible, and Spider-man fights Freddy and Jason. We don't need that.
That actually doesn't bother me. Those reboots actually, I don't mind that because I love Spider-Man and I love Batman, and I always thought they had the greatest rogues gallery of villains. So I have no problem sitting through 10 different Spider-Mans, 10 different Batmans because of the quality of the villains. So they just had the greatest villains. I know every single one of their,
But that goes back to the non-originality, though. Can't we get something new? Can't there be like Ratman or fucking?
I'll tell you what. But
I don't know.
But the last Spider-Man was pretty good though, and they brought back all the original Spider-Man.
I haven't seen that. I saw the cartoon one with Miles Morales.
It was just I don't know. I kind of going against what I said about originality, but that is a good example of non-originality being pretty good because they brought back villains from past movies, and they weren't just in cameos; they were just in full-fledged. When Tobey Maguire showed up, he wasn't just in for a second. He was in for a good portion of the movie. Not to give anything away.
Right.
That was I like that movie a lot. That might be my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I see it. Still, the first Spider-Man, the first one with Tobey Maguire, was still probably my favorite. I think that
the Green Goblin or the Dr. Octopus.
Not the really first one where we graduated high school. I can't remember the fucking villains now, but that was I wouldn't know with
Spider-Man 2 had Dr. Octopus. The first one had Green Goblin. The second one had Dr. Octopus.
Right. Now, what Robin says is true, too. Just play different roles, different people of color playing white roles, women playing. Now, I don't agree that they need to do that for the sake of it, though. The issue is we got shit writing. Like, they redid the Ghostbusters, and they had good intentions with it, They put an all-woman cast on there, but
That was
I
stupid.
didn't get good reviews on that. They made it sound like it was
I didn't see the last one either with Paul Rudd. I have no desire to see. I did see the one with the Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, and that was.
And I gotta give some bombs about the Ghostbusters. I went back and watched the original one. It's not really that good.
Well, I mean, that's,
it's, I think Ghostbusters is a tad overrated to begin with. I really do.
I like Bill Murray though.
Bill Murray's good. I like Bill Murray's other movies a little better, probably. But
You can say that about a lot of the '80s movies because obviously the special effects we're using.
well, yeah, I mean the special effects are what they are. But
The quality wasn't as good as Another example is like the original Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger. You go back and you see that now, and you're like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just so unrealistic. You can tell the blood's like Kool-Aid, and it's like.
I don't know what it is about horror movies. I mean, there's a couple of them I really fuck with. Like Blair Witch Project was fucking groundbreaking. I love that movie.
I've never seen that.
You never seen the Blair Witch
No.
Project? You gotta watch it. It's great.
But it's funny watching like horror movies from the '80s today, like The Shining. I can sit through. I laugh at The Shining. It's just so ridiculous to me.
Right, and there's some other ones. Some of the old creep shows are really good, but like most of
Evil Dead's another one. It's like
it's just so corny, and it's just. I mean, people are like, oh, it's here, and I don't know. I just never got into horror as a genre. I never really liked it.
It depends though. I mean, it depends on the story. If there's like a good story, I like any movie that has like a great, whatever the genre is. Quality. If the quality is great, it doesn't matter, man.
The storytelling is lost in a lot of this. I think what's going to happen.
Storytelling is key, man.
If I was to predict what the future is going to be, I think we're going to have a backlash against Hollywood and the quote-unquote PC woke culture. And I think we're going to have a lot of cool Pulp Fiction-y type movies to where it's
that's fine with me.
underground and they get so crass that, people – because people – if you go into Hollywood and you're a movie writer, or just a movie writer in general, it doesn't have to be Hollywood. It could be Bollywood or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just doing what everybody else is doing, you're never going to make it in this out here. You're not. You have to write stuff that's groundbreaking. That's why I like the independent underground. I've never been a thing of that. I mean, the movie that we had, The Enormity of Life, if you haven't checked that out, it's a great new independent movie that was started a couple of years ago.
Oh, with
the guy from Brecklin Meyer and all that.
Meyer and the girl from Walking Dead.
And also Pledged. What was Siobhan Fallon's movie? It's a new movie with Siobhan Fallon, Slogan from Saturday Night Live, and the Terminator, Robert Patrick. Pledged. I think it was called Pledged. Great fucking independent movie.
Cleveland's own Robert Patrick.
Right. Great movies out there, man. But you got to look for it. You really do. And it's hard. I know it's difficult, but if we keep supporting the same shit, like, for example, there's this movie called The Emoji Movie, and there's no way in God's green earth that movie is going to be anything remotely but shit. And I saw the cinema sins of it, and it obviously was shit. And I told, and people there's probably a couple of people who unfriended me, called me an asshole. But I got in their comments like, dude, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you doing this to your kid? Why are you passing this off as entertainment to your child? It's an insult to your child's intelligence. You and your child are going to get dumber by doing this. You need to go out there and be proactive with your entertainment options. Go ahead.
I got another hang up.
Huh?
You made me think of another one. Computer animation. What happened to the traditional animation? Remember, the Snow White, Pinocchio, The Lion King. Remember all those movies, man? I miss the traditional animation, man.
I do, but I get it because, like, you do that, and it takes 5 times longer to produce. You know what I mean? It's
Is it though? I don't know.
Because back then you'd have to hand draw each scene. I mean, now if the computer just does it, it's fucking easier. I
remember how groundbreaking it was when Toy Story came out, and everybody had to see. I saw it in theaters.
Toy Story is a good movie.
That was a great movie. But as great of a movie that is, it's like it opened up this like can of worms because all these horrible movies that follow, these CGI movies, a lot of them are so silly, man. I just don't like. I guess I just don't like the computer animation as much as the traditional.
Yeah, Robert says I want more adult animation. That's true. That's very true, man. We need more adult oriented because cartoons aren't for kids anymore. Cartoon. Think about all the popular shows of the past 10, 20 years. Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park. It's all shit like that because like they can get away with stuff that actors don't want to be associated with. Think of all the things they had Peter Griffin do over the years. Think of Homer do over the years. Think about that. And think about if like a real actor was going, no real actor would want to do all that stuff. They don't want that attached to them. So I mean, computer is good too. Computer animations are the way to go, man. It is. So any last words before we all smoke it out and fucking bring it home? What do you think the future of movies in Hollywood is going to be, bro? You think it's going to keep getting worse? What do you think the pinch point's going to be? There's got to be a breaking point somewhere, huh?
I just say it's just going to rely too heavily on the CGI, man. That's where we're going.
It's going to keep getting worse. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming out for today's version of Things That Suck. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how the prison system sucks. I don't know who the guest is going to be, guest host is going to be, but we'll see you tomorrow, guys.
And remember, have a happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. Stay safe. And as always, from Patty B and Joe from the podcast, we invite you weekly to get infected.
Hell yeah, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy, bud.